The Tournament of Champions continues here on the A Show on CKCC Radio. Matt Durlin and Chris Decker hanging out with you for week number two of the Tournament of Champions. The first round match between Joe Sposto and RadleyBelmont has now ended, but we're recording while it's still going. So to find out who the winner is, go to our Twitter at the A Show on CKCC and see if Joe or Rad advanced to round two.
Yep. I was gonna say, I was like, should we do like a overdub of it? But then I'm like, no, because by the time this goes up, we still don't know who won. So, yes, just go to the Twitter and find out.
Yeah. And that brings us to the second first round matchup. And tonight we have a battle of two men who were in the same place for the same event. And that event being when Chris Decker left Wade Kruger to die. In a pile of broken table.
Yeah, another reason I don't want Chris selling my show.
Whoa.
So, one of the men is, of course, Wade Kruger, the number 7 seed in the tournament. Welcome to the show, Wade.
Thank you. I had a sweet tie with Rad. An undeserving tie. I created the most unreal WCW show to ever exist.
Yours was pretty ridiculous.
I out Vince Russo and booked Vince Russo while doing it.
I had to mute myself because I was laughing. I got into a terrible coughing fit just remembering the card.
Yeah, it was a thing. We'll just leave it at that.
And Wade's opponent here tonight, the number 2 seed, who was in the front row when Chris Decker left Wade Kruger to die in a pile of broken table, from the recently rebranded We Need Wrestling podcast, as well as the only podcast you will ever hear about the not-so-hit sitcom Wings on Wings, The Dooge. Welcome, DJ.
How are you, everybody?
Are you cracking open a seltzer?
I cracked open a Doogeweiser, yes, sir. Grapefruit Wegman seltzer right here.
If you don't listen to We Need Wrestling, formerly the Wednesday Night War podcast, it is the unofficial, not at all sponsored by Wegmans podcast of Wegman Seltzer.
Someday, one day they're going to give us that sponsorship, and I'm going to drink at minimum 2 seltzers a podcast until they give it to us.
I actually had a conversation with somebody over Mania weekend. I was like, yeah, we're doing a show tomorrow, and one of the guys hosts a podcast. It's called Wings on Wings, which led to a 20-minute conversation about Wings. And I'm like, how does so many people know about Wings and I don't? Like, I just never watched it.
We have fans that we've gotten complaints that our show isn't enough about Wings, the TV show, and that we don't treat it with the respect that we should. Because
and I was about to say, how do you even have a 20-minute conversation about Wings?
It's easy because 5 minutes of it is talking about the wing sauce that we're eating. So the premise is we're eating wings while talking about the TV show Wings.
I meant this person who was talking to Decker who just came up and was like, I'm going to talk about the show Wings for 20 minutes.
Oh, man. I was like, how in the fuck do you know this much about it? He's like, yeah, they hang out like an airport and stuff. And I'm like, literally all I knew is that Wings would be on at like 10 a.m. on USA Network on like a Saturday before Mania was on. Like, that's all I knew.
It'd be like
Wings and Gag.
Yeah. It ran like 172 episodes. It's,
what?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
Wings was a hit, in the very early 90s. I don't know why, but we talk about it and, we watch it and it's something.
Literally all I know about Wings is that Tony Shalhoub was in it.
Eventually, yes. He's not, if you're listening to the show, he's not there yet. I think it's season 3 that he jumps in.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember from the sitcom Wings is a long-running joke between myself and my sister where there's an episode after they get married and they go to have their house built, and the architect designs them a house that looks like the number 7. So it's a later season episode, obviously.
Yeah. It's done a lot. It crossed over with Cheers in the first season. It's
a spinoff?
No. Nope. Cliff and Norm just show up to go drinking on Nantucket Island.
It was the original MCU.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just from the era of shows. Like, I was born in '88, so it's the era of shows of where like on reruns at USA, like on USA when I was like growing up with like Coach and Jag.
I would watch Coach. Coach is fun.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a little, just like slightly before my time.
The new podcast we're going to do is, it's going to be Sandwiches with the Steve Harvey Show. We're just discussing all the great WB sitcoms like the Wayans Brothers and Nick Inferno, Licensed Teacher.
Not to completely hijack this very wrestling-oriented podcast, but we do have other things lined up like Nachos and Night Court, and Meatloaf on Meatloaf, where we eat meatloaf and break down the 3 Bad Outta Hell records.
Are you going to have Kev on when you do the episode about Paradise by the Dashboard Light?
For the one person that listens to this that gets that joke, yes, I am.
Well, if anyone ever decides to do like Burgers and Boy Meets World, just let me know.
Oh,
I'm in for that.
Can we mend our fences talking about that? Like, 'cause I can talk Boy Meets World all day.
I've referenced it. It's one of those shows that like I see people in things, and I'll be like, I know that person from somewhere, and it'll be from an episode of Boy Meets World, like 95% of the time.
Yeah, like Adam Scott. Like he was Griff.
Yep. Literally everyone ever has been in an episode. I swear. It's like, there's always the one show you've watched way too much of where you're like, I know that person, and you look it up and they're like, oh, they were in an episode of that. For my girlfriend, it's Will and Grace. For me, it's Boy Meets World.
Well, I mean, Leslie Stakino. Everybody knows who Leslie Stakino was, right?
Yeah. He's
also Frankie Stakino Sr., depending on what season he appeared.
And the great Joey the Rat Epstein, who went on to be a member of indie super band Vilo Kiley.
That's right. Yes. I was like, shit. I was like, I know he was started on Salute Your Shorts, but then he was in a famous indie band. It was like not Interpol. No, what was it? God damn it.
Yeah. So that's my wheelhouse.
All of this infinitely more interesting than the subject matter that we're going to be drafting tonight.
How dare you?
I agree.
Yeah, no, but you're right. That's absolutely true.
Because tonight, Decker decided, because again, Decker picked all these promotions. I figured out the seating, Decker figured out the promotions, and Decker threw you guys a curveball in round 1.
Hey, man.
This man threw us like a gyro ball or a splitter. This is a knuckleball, if ever I've seen one.
Be happy you didn't get first round TNA 2003. Like, that's going to be tough.
At least there's guys in TNA that can cut promos.
Whoa, that's some blatant disrespect for Lobo. How dare you?
You're right.
So, 2000 CZW is where we're at tonight for round 1, match 2 in the 2-7 matchup. And for those of you who have not listened to the show before, first and foremost, thank you for listening. You're probably very confused as to why you are joining in the middle of a tournament, but we welcome you regardless. This is the tournament where we take all the winners from the first season and match them up against each other and give them promotions like 2000 CZW to draft from. Wade will draft first as the lower seed, and they will take turns, Wade and DJ, until they both feel that they have built a sufficient 2000 CZW card. We'll take a break, they will build their cards, we'll come back, and they will discuss them. Now, I will act as the moderator, and Decker will act as the fact checker. We are not actually drafting during the tournament. We will resume our drafting when we get back into Season 2. By the way, congrats to Irish Kev for winning episode 1 of Season 2 with his not as wacky as AJ's, but still kind of wacky 1998 ECW card.
AJ's was trounced. One person voted for it. I was like, wow. I was highly entertained by it.
Oh yeah, when he had Nicole Bass throw Terry Funk off the Eagle's nest.
I voted for Kev twice because of that.
Because AJ had Nicole Bass throw Terry Funk.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever laughed as hard at a card that we've had on this show.
Well, strap in, Matt. Strap in.
I was going to say, I'm ready to go, man.
It's about to get weird.
Oh yeah. With that weirdness, we will have, of course, in round 7, the wild card, where you can pick anyone that wrestled in the year 2000. You can draft a champion with their belt, and that takes that belt off of the draft board, and you can draft people together, but they must be used together. So, with that said, this unfortunately is not a Boy Meets World or Night Court podcast. It is 2000 CZW. So, let's get on with it. Wade, you are up.
Okay. So I have the first pick right here. I'm taking a 4-man team.
Oh my god.
If that doesn't give you an idea of what event I'm running, then my team CZW will be Zandig, Sick Nick Mondo, Lobo, and Wife Beater.
Heavy hitters right out the gate.
So, Lobo, Zandig, Mondo.
Yep, and Wife Beater.
And Wife Beater. I'm just making notes on my list here. All right. So we throw it to Dooge for his first round pick.
Well, I mean, that's half the roster.
Hey, you could blame Decker for this.
I'm so happy right now.
All right. Well, that severely messes me up. To be honest, the guy I wanted the most, and I think it's the rightful thing, is Zandig, the only guy who could talk, and I now have a whole full-page, 3-paragraph Zandig promo that will go unheard.
Oh no, you can still say it after we're all done here.
I want to hear it.
Then you shouldn't have taken him then. But with my first pick, then I will take Justice Payne with the CZW heavyweight title.
All right.
Wade, you're up.
Okay. I will then take, with my second pick, the Haas brothers with the tag titles.
That was a great find, seeing that the Haas brothers were there.
I mean, I'm a JPW guy, so of course I'm going to know the Haas brothers, where they came from.
Okay. My second pick, I will take Nate Hatred with the Iron Man Championship. Oh, and with Dewey Donovan as his manager.
All right. With Dewey. Will he be wearing his awesome Do the Do jacket?
He will also have the Do the Do briefcase, yes.
Okay. Then I will take the tag, to use as a tag team, the tag team of Ryuji Ito and Daisuke Sekimoto.
Does that throw a kick in your plan here, Dooge?
No.
All right.
What, trying to think who Daisuke Sekimoto is. If it's the guy I'm thinking of.
He's a...
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, he debuted in 99. I was like, I thought that guy was much younger. But, all right.
I saw him on the list, and I was like, dude, that guy he was a beast then, he's a beast now.
For sure. All right, my next pick, I'm taking the Backseat Boys.
Okay.
They'll also be managed by Dewey Donovan, but I already have them, so it doesn't matter.
Nice.
Okay, with my next pick, I will take Rick Blade with the junior heavyweight title.
Ooh.
Rick Blade. Where you had on my list? Rick Blade? Oh, all the way up there.
Right under Big Mac Smack.
You guys are not giving this roster enough credit. This is a pretty intriguing draft so far. I don't think we could have done it with 3 people, but
no, absolutely not.
So with my next pick, just so he doesn't get taken, I am taking the Rockin' Rebel.
Yeah, I wasn't. You have him.
Okay. Very important to my show.
With my fifth pick, right? Fifth.
Mm-hmm.
I will take the team of Nick Gage and Jun Kasai.
Oh, nice.
With my 5th pick, I'm gonna take taking all the teams, taking a lot of people off the list early here. Madman Pondo.
All right, we go to round 6, so one more till we hit the wild card.
Yeah, and I mean, I apologize. I'm sure Matt could be like, Matt will understand I'm taking a lot of teams, because if there's one thing I do know, it's tag team wrestling. So I wasn't like, I can't I know I can't run a crazy, insane deathmatch show, so let's take some tag teams and have
the
some
nice
fun with
thing about CZW's roster is once you get rid of like the top 4 guys, most of them are faceless. So
is Derek Frazier on the list?
I don't think so.
So, with my 6th pick, I will take Reckless Youth.
Ooh. Actually, next on my list.
Super underrated wrestler.
Surprised he lasted this long.
Me too.
Oh man, all right. Well, with my next pick, I am taking Ian Rotten.
Now we get to 7.
This is the wild card round, right?
Correct.
Yes.
It is.
Oh my god, I think I know what you're gonna do.
Do you?
I think I do.
What do you think I'm gonna do? Because I'll tell you if you're right.
Well, are you going to pick the opponents for your first pick?
Yes, I am.
Yes!
Do you want me to say it? With my wild card pick, I will be taking Val Venus, The Good Father, Bull Buchanan, and Stevie Richards with Ivory, right to censor.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Bet you can't guess what I'm doing with my show.
I'm so happy.
Oh boy.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
With my wild card pick, I will be picking Kevin Nash.
Okay. I gotta say, I had a lot of ideas for the wild card, and Kevin Nash wasn't one of them.
I had one idea for the wild card, and it's only Kevin Nash. I live on a very strong philosophy of if your show has Kevin Nash, it's immediately better.
I mean, that's fair.
I'm so intrigued by where we're heading.
Yeah.
You all shit on me for this idea. This was a wonderful idea.
I'm more intrigued by his than, I think mine's a pretty one-way street of where it's heading. With my 8th pick, I will take, the tag team of the Thrill Kill Cult, which would be, Diablo, Macabre, and Midnight.
Allegedly, yes.
Yes.
Midnight with 2 Ds.
To show you how prestigious those tag titles were, the Thrill Kill Cult were the tag champions.
I'm gonna take my own thrown together tag team here, because I was hoping to get at least one work rate match out of the Haas brothers. But instead I am going to draft the thrown together tag team of Low-Key and John Cronus.
What? Okay. That's awesome.
Okay.
We go back to Wade.
I'm done.
Okay.
I mean, I have so many guys, even though it's not that a lot of picks, so.
All right, DJ, it's you can make a run here then.
Okay, well, strap in, everybody. With my 9th pick, I am going to take John Dahmer. With my 10th pick, I'm going to take Justin Case. With my 11th pick, I'm going to take the giant leprechaun Patty O'Brien. I am also then going to take Jeff Rocker at number 12. Let's see, who's in the Thrill Kill Cult? Was that Gabriel Knight?
No.
Okay. All right. So my 13th, I'm going to take Z-Bar. Stop me if some of these guys are in a tag team because who the hell knows who's tag teams in CZW.
I will say, I made notes of some of like the really weird random tag teams, and Z-Bar was in a tag team with Nick Burke called the Softcore Connection.
Yeah, I don't want a tag team. Just as long as they weren't picked, I'm good.
Okay.
Because at number 14, I'm going to take Gabriel Knight. I'm going to take TCK at number 15. I'm going to take Nick Burke at 16. I'm going to take Honma at 17. Still wrestles in New Japan to this day. Wrestled the deathmatch style for a few years, got sick of it as all scarred, but now also broke his neck and can barely move, but he still wrestles. He's like super tan. He does a headbutt. Hilarious. At 18, I'm taking Kentaro Connemura. At 19, I'm taking Shadow WX. And at 20, I'm taking Abdullah Kobayashi. And, let's see, hold on. I don't know who she is, but at 21, I'm taking Natasha.
Fair.
Let me just count this out real quick. Yep, I'm good. I'm done.
All right.
Nice.
Sure you don't want to take Big Mac Smack?
You know what? Now that you say it, I will take Big Mac Smack. Why not? I also don't know who Big Mac Smack is.
It doesn't matter.
For what I'm doing with them all, no.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
And now for Decker's favorite segment, you are not getting booked.
You're not getting booked.
Nice. Is the Gambler on the list?
Not this week. But on that list would be Mercury. Up until 30 seconds ago, Big Mac Smack was on the list, but now he's not.
Right.
We also have Lord Everett DeVore, Ty Street.
Joe Spos is going to be very upset that nobody took Lord Everett DeVore, but it's what it is.
Johnny Blaze, Dallas, White Lotus. This sounds more like an ICP show than it does a CCW show.
But listen, you're not that far off.
Mitch Page, Mike and Todd Shane, who were the Gemini.
Fucking Bad Crew 1 and 2.
The Bad Crew.
They were the Gemini, really?
Yeah.
They were on my list, but I didn't need a tag team anymore.
Well, we got Big Mac Smack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all worked out. Ryuji Yamakawa, Men's Teo, which I'm actually surprised that he did not go.
On my list, but once the junior heavyweight title left, I have no real spot for him. But he has a place in my heart because he was also known as Terry Boy when he was dedicated his life to Terry Funk.
Yeah, he was my backup plan for Reckless Youth, I'll be honest.
That would have been really good. The final not drafted wrestlers, Masayoshi Motegi, Fantastic with a K, Kamikaze, Daikakubo Benkai, and Shunmei Mitaozaki. I'm sure I butchered that.
Don't forget Shadow WX.
No, DJ
I took him.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, then never mind.
Yes. He was my 19th pick.
Oh.
I know he picked a lot of people there at once, so he may have missed it.
Yeah, I lost track after I finished in round 8, and it went.
He went to round 20.
22 with Big Mac Smack, actually.
So what we'll do right now is we'll let you listen to some words from some other podcasts. We'll be right back with you here on the A Show on CKCC Radio.
Greetings, folks. Do you like beer? Do you know who I am? Maybe not. My name's Kev, also known as Irish Kev. And my dear friend Rick and myself actually really were supposed to have a cool promo for our beer review podcast known as the Hooligans of Hops, where Rick and myself take you through a drunken journey of all of the beers that we try. On a scale 0.25 to 5 being the best, we talk about the best and worst beers we've had on the show. In between, you hear sports banter, some wrestling, and I don't know, anything that happens when we get drunk. So check out our show on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, Buzzsprout, and anywhere you can get your podcast sources. We'll try not to get drunk next time and do something for you. But here's the promo. Thanks.
Hi, this is Anthony from the IWEP Network. We're a collection of weekly podcasts that vary in all different types of topics. We can be found on all social media, as well as any podcast or music app that you may use, as well as YouTube. We go live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch every Friday and Sunday. Here's a lineup of our 5 shows that you may be interested in. Interviews with everyday people. Interviews and conversations on a positive note and just getting to know each other. Everyone has a story. Bangin' Beers Podcast, beer reviews, hanging out with some friends, and much more. Truth behind illusion. Are you into ghosts, monsters, conspiracy theories, and more? Then this show will be for you. Tornado Tag Podcast, pro wrestling stories, news, and show reviews. We love supporting indie wrestling, so come check us out. Not Cool in High School Podcast, a pop culture show. We cover movies, television, comic books, and video games. A weekly topic, so come hang out with us. We would love to hear from you. Follow us on all social media, and we'll see you soon.
I'm Jason.
And I'm David, and we're the hosts of the Non-North Sports Podcast. We're the home of sports talk for everyone. Join us bi-weekly as we talk about the happenings in sports.
You can find the Non-North Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever else you find your podcasts.
It's the most successful independent wrestling promotion of this generation. It's the place where the stars of today made their name. Now get the inside story of Ring of Honor from those that lived it with an honorable mention. Join Ring of Honor alumni Shane Hagedorn and his co-host Jeff Schwartz as they break down a classic Ring of Honor event every Tuesday and get the behind-the-scenes scoop and inside stories that you won't hear anywhere else. An honorable mention available every Tuesday on your favorite podcast platforms. For exclusive bonus content, plus early ad-free access to every show, check out patreon.com/anhonorablepod.
Welcome back to the second half of the Tournament of Champions Round 1, Match 2 here on the A Show on CKCC Radio. Matt and Chris hanging out with you with the Dooge from the We Need Wrestling podcast and Wings on Wings. Don't forget Wings on Wings. And his opponent, Wade Kruger of the tag team, the Stepdads. And we are still talking 2000 CZW.
Somehow.
Unfortunately.
And what we're going to do is we are now going to listen to the cards that have been prepared. And the lower the lower seed who drafted first will now present their card first. So Wade, you are up.
Can't wait.
So we're here. It's 2000. We've survived Y2K. So let's go ahead and ruin all of it. It's CZW Cage of Death time. Cage of Death has been set up to be a 4-way this year. It's supposed to be Zandig versus Lobo versus Wife Beater versus Sick Nick Mondo. Zandig comes out to open the show, cut a promo, hyping up the fans. All of a sudden, very obnoxious, that Right to Censor theme comes on. Here comes Right to Censor. They've heard about CZW. They're not fans for obvious reasons. They can't believe there's a wrestler named Wife Beater. They come out, they say, how about you challenge us? We're here to shut CZW down, take it over, turn it into a respectable company. They challenge those 4 guys, 4-on-4, Cage of Death later in the night. Zandig accepts because what the hell? He's not afraid of anything. He's not a sane human. Right to Censor, they leave. Zandig poses, ready to start the show. So the undercard for Cage of Death is a small tag tournament. So we're opening hot. The team of Jun Kasai and Nick Gage versus the Haas brothers.
Nice.
Crazy match. They kill each other back and forth as no weapons because it's for the tag titles, which the Haas brothers have at this time. So the titles are being defended each round by whoever has them. So the Haas brothers are defending the titles against Jun Kasai and Nick Gage. Want to put that over first. Jun Kasai turns on Nick Gage. They have no alliance, leaving him laid out. The Haas brothers win, not the way they want to win, but it's a way to start the show. Jun Kasai leaves Gage for dead, leaves. Gage goes to the back, obviously not pleased with what's happened. Second match of the tags tournament, we have Team Big Japan, Daisuke Sekimoto and Ryujido versus the Thrill Kill Cult. Just like me, Sekimoto and Ito aren't even going to take time to learn Thrill Kill's cult name. They're going to just beat them to death in about 3 minutes. They get stacked on top of each other. Ito hits his frog splash onto both of them. Double pin, double win. Team Big Japan over without breaking a sweat. To break up the tag tournament, we have the light heavyweight title match as Rick Blade is defending against Reckless Youth. Rick Blade has a penchant for doing crazy shit, and he does all of it in this match to try to defend his title. Eventually, he's jumping off balconies. Eventually, he goes for his finisher, the edge of the blade on the floor, which is some sort of like powerbomb crucifix thing. Reckless Youth gets out of it, reverses it into a stretch plum, taps out Rick Blade for the finish, gets super heat from the crowd because CZW fans are not a big fan of this crazy match ending in a submission. Reckless Youth flips off the entire crowd, leaves with the belt. Crowd not happy. As he's leaving, Nick Gage throws Jun Kasai through the back entranceway. They start brawling out from the back. Ref comes out. We have an impromptu Falls Count Anywhere match with Nick Gage and Jun Kasai. Gage wants revenge. Gage will have revenge. They beat the shit out of each other with anything they could find. Chairs, ladders, that shitty pizza cutter a fan always brought to every goddamn broadcast of fans from the front row. Bats with tacks and anything you could think of, they use it. Gage hits a pile driver on the floor for the finish. crowd finally happy with something that's happened today. Up next, we have the tag tournament finale, which has the Haas brothers versus Ryuji Ito and Daisuke Sekimoto. Now, the thing that everyone is here for is Charlie Haas and Sekimoto just beating the piss out of each other, which they do. This match gets very Japanese, strong style. Guys are it's just big old meat slapping meat in there. Charlie Haas puts Ito in the Haas of Pain. Ito is about to tap. Sekimoto comes in, takes out Russ, grabs Charlie Haas while he's in the Haas of Pain, deadlift German suplex with a bridge for the win. Oof. So the titles are going to Big Japan. They are the new tag team champions, Sekimoto and Ito. This has not been a good night for CZW. Then we have an intermission for the next hour and a half as they set up Cage of Death.
That's a short one.
Yeah, they were very efficient today. It's early on, so shit's not as crazy yet, you know. So, yeah, Zandig, Sick Nick Mondo, Lobo, and Wife Beater versus Stevie Richards, Val Venus, The Good Father, and Bull Buchanan with Ivory, who is at ringside for all of this. The match is justifiably and expectedly absolutely bonkers. Val Venus hits a money shot off the top of the cage through a table on the floor.
All right.
Lobo is getting tossed off shit Mondo is getting tossed off shit as he does. That's pretty much, at one point, Bull throws him off the top of the cage through a light tube cabin. It's out of hand. It all comes down to the two men in charge, Stevie Richards and motherfucking Zandig. Stevie is busted open at this point. Zandig's been beating him with a bat covered in barbed wire. He's all sorts of bloody. Probably took a little too long. Stevie starts to crawl away, starts to try to climb out of the cage to get away from Zandig. Zandig climbs up behind him, grabs him to go for a mother effing bomb off the top into the middle of the ring. As he grabs him, Ivory comes in the cage to stop him. Zandig jumps down. She tries to scramble away. He grabs her by the hair, holds up the bat covered with barbed wire like he's about to swing it. He asks the crowd, should he? Those bloodthirsty fucking mutants, they're all for it. As he does, Stevie Richards comes up behind, roll up with a handful of tights. 1, 2, 3, right to censor. Win Cage of Death with a roll up with a handful of tights. Crowd is losing it. They're throwing shit in the cage. Right to censor. They come back out. They're all in there and they're taking turns beating on Zandig until Wife Beater runs in with the weed whacker.
Oh God.
He runs off right to censor, picks up Zandig, hits him with the weed whacker. He pulls off his Wife Beater, revealing another Wife Beater underneath that has the right to censor logo on it. Right to censor comes back in. They lock the cage behind them, and they fend off Team CZW as they try to get back in to save Zandig. Zandig, zip-tied to the ropes, crucifix style, like Jesus, taking the weed whacker to the back over and over from each member of Right to Censor.
Oh my God.
As they do, Stevie cuts a promo about how this is no longer CZW, it is RT CZW. Hands the microphone off to Wife Beater, who announces his new name, Wife Hugger. Everyone hugs in the ring, garbage is being thrown in, end of show. That's how Cage of Death goes in 2000. So, yeah, CZW not having a good night. They lost their tag belts to Japan. They lost their light heavyweight title to a guy who won it with a submission, and Right to Censor is in charge.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
That was a roller coaster.
To say the least.
I think that was about the best I could do with that. The most interesting thing I could think to do about, not most interesting, because I think about what's about to happen is going to be fucking insane. But, I don't know. It was something.
All right. So press conference time. So, are they now right to censor zone wrestling? Or right to... Okay, they're not right to combat zone.
No, because they are censoring combat zone wrestling.
Okay. Is it still the Cage of Death with it that, or is it like the Cage of Hurt?
Well, I mean, Cage of Death only happens once a year, so I think they're going to be out of power before that, but you'll just have to tune in next month to find out.
On Fake UTV.
You're asking me to think way too far ahead. I barely wanted to think this far ahead. Also, if I know anything, if this happened in real life, CZW also didn't have a long-term plan of how to get out of this angle.
They didn't have a long-term plan how to get out of that night.
Yeah.
Like, check it out.
For all we know, Right to Censor got murdered in the parking lot later that day.
They dropped the whole angle because the entire Right to Censor was brutally, savagely beaten.
Yeah, you come back next month and Sandig is just in charge and they never mention it again. It's like an episode of The Simpsons.
Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. So Dooge.
Yes.
It is your turn to present your 2000 CZW card. Oh, I hear a seltzer.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a dragon fruit berry Doogeweiser right here. So everybody know, Wegmans, hit me up.
I'm all out of seltzer, man.
It's delicious.
I'd have known.
All right, so we're looking at CZW in 2000. We're looking at how's it pronounced? Sewell, New Jersey. Sewell, New Jersey. The only place that will have CZW. It's in the middle of the field, late in the summer, so the sun is beating down on everybody. The crowd is full of guys, and they're all in cargo shorts, wife beaters, and unbuttoned short sleeve button down shirts.
Whoa! You're not allowed to book wife beater. I took wife beater.
Yes, they're all wearing wife beaters. You wouldn't, if wife beater was there, you wouldn't even know because he'd look like everybody else. The ring announcer goes into the ring to start the show. He is also wearing cargo shorts and a short sleeve button down shirt, but his is buttoned. That's how you know that he's with the show.
Nice.
The crowd's not sure if he's
I'm really
supposed to
upset
be
over
there.
the attack on guys that wear cargo shorts. I mean, they're really cool guys.
Sure. So, the crowd's not sure if this is real or if the guy should be in the ring. It's very hard to tell. The ring looks and sounds like it was built out of reclaimed wood from a barn fire. And there is a unique setup outside. I'm trying to set the ambiance here. So the ring is in the middle, obviously. And then there's all the fans. And behind the fans on two sides, there are rows of pickup trucks. Whether they're operational, we don't know. Next to that on the one side, not completely blocking the whole side, is a dumpster, which is the most meta thing that CZW has ever done. And on the other side of the ring is a 18-wheeler, tractor trailer. So set that up for everybody. Music hits. Can't hear it over the PA. There's announcers there, but you can't hear them either. Guy walks into the ring, and he says, here it is. This is Just In Case, everybody. Just In Case is the first guy out. And he comes out to start the show, and he says, I'm not booked tonight. I'm not here. I don't have a match, but I'm here. He says, if somebody no-shows and you need a guy, I may not be the coolest, and I may not be the best.
Oh, God damn it.
But I'm here just in case.
I'm calling gimmick infringement. This guy's a better stepdad than me, and I don't appreciate it.
So he leaves. Spoiler alert, he's not going to get booked tonight. And our first match comes out, and it's the Rockin' Rebel. First guy out to the ring, 3-foot rat tail mullet and all, comes out to the ring, waiting for his opponent, which happens to be the CZW Iron Man champion, Nate Hatred, with Dewey Donovan. They get into the ring, and Dewey Donovan grabs the microphone and announces that this is the first ever actual death match in the history of professional wrestling. Nate Hatred grabs Rebel by the 3-foot rat tail and beats the hell out of him. No messing around, all big moves. Rebel gets no offense whatsoever. Nate Hatred still bleeds. But nobody's quite sure why, and it's a gusher.
Just a strong breeze.
Yes. Beats the shit out of him. Rebel's out. Chokes Rebel out. Rebel's unconscious. Hatred wins. Nate Hatred drags him out behind the dumpster that's on the side of the ring. You can't see what's happening. You hear a very loud bang, and only Nate Hatred and Dewey Donovan walk back from behind the dumpster. And that's the end of the first match.
I was wondering how you were going to use Rockin' Rebel, and I fully endorse it.
I figure... Right. Nate Hatred can get the license, and the world can be better off as a whole.
Wait, is Rebel dead?
It's the first ever actual death match.
Yeah, man.
What was used to kill him?
It was behind the dumpster, and you don't know. You just heard a loud bang, and only Nate Hatred walked back out.
He grabbed his heart from his still beating chest.
After that, your CZW heavyweight champion, Justice Payne, comes out to the ring. And as he's coming out to the ring, some guy in the crowd sets off fireworks that he brought himself. Which is a thing that used to happen at CZW shows. And so Justice Payne comes out, he's going to cut a promo. And he says, I'm the champion of the most ultra-violent promotion on earth. Because when I walked into the back today and saw that I didn't have an opponent tonight. And nobody does that to Justice Payne. So I'm issuing an open challenge for the main event tonight in a cage of death. Anybody in the back wants to face me, you get your fucking ass out here, and I promise you that you're going to die, and I'll show you real violence. He waits for a few minutes. Nobody comes out. The crowd, like a CZW crowd does, is yelling all kinds of very homophobic insults at everyone they possibly can, at each other, at the ring announcer, at the referee, at everybody. And then all of a sudden... Out comes Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash walks into the ring. He gets a microphone, checks like 3 or 4 times to make sure that it's working, because it's CZW and it never works. And he has a promo to cut. He says, Justice Payne, you've been out here for 5 minutes running your mouth. He says, ultra violence, huh? Look at the adjective, violence. You might think I'm here to play. Well, I ain't out here to play. You asked for somebody to come out here. Well, I'm out here. Nobody else came out here. Why? Because this show's about as interesting as Paris Hilton reading excerpts from The Art of the Deal. You know, this Combat Zone generation, your Madman Pondos, your John Dahmers, they're either the most arrogant or the dumbest guys I've ever met. The only people dumber than these 2 guys are the people sitting in the seats in the middle of this stupid field. This arena runs on one thing, ultra-violence. You thrive it, you need it. There's a culture of ultra-violence around CZW. And in the main event, there's going to be ultra-violence. I'm going to ride into town, and it's not going to be named Justice Payne. It's going to be named Kevin Nash. So go in the back, think about how I'm going to take that title from you, and think about how I'm going to take your wife too. See you in the main event.
Whoa.
Main event is set up in a cage of death. It's Kevin Nash versus Justice Payne. After that, we have a CZW Battle Royal, which seemingly is timed for some reason. Starts off with 2 people. It's just a Battle Royal. It doesn't make a ton of sense. The fans don't understand why it's here, but it is. We got Shadow WX. We got Abdullah Kobayashi. We got the Giant Leprechaun, Patty O'Brien. We got Jeff Rocker. We got Z-Bar. We got Gabe Knight. We got TCK. We got Big Mac Smack. And we have Natasha in this Battle Royal. 2 guys out every couple of minutes at completely random time intervals. Another guy comes into the ring. They're just beating each other up. The rules aren't clear. We don't really know what's going on. But it's a Battle Royal. Pins are happening. Submissions are happening. Over the top rope is happening. There's a shirtless guy who has a lanyard around his neck that says he works for CZW who's dragging the people away as they're eliminated. Seemingly he's the only one who knows what an elimination actually is. And so, the giant leprechaun Patty O'Brien, obviously he's a huge struggle because he's a larger man. I don't know how large because I've never seen him in my life, but it says he's a giant leprechaun. I guess a giant leprechaun could be like 5 foot tall, right? That wouldn't, whatever.
That's fair.
So the last person out is Natasha, and the crowd rips into her horrible, hateful things that you would never say to a woman, if there were consequences involved. Sort of like what people do on the internet now, but, just awful things. And she gets put through a table because that's what happens in CZW when a woman tries to wrestle, at least in the year 2000. And the winner is Big Mac Smack, for no reason other than the fact that I like his name. Not when I was drafting him. So Big Mac Smack wins. He doesn't get anything for winning. It just, he gets $10 a sandwich. I don't know. Do they have catering at CZW?
No.
Okay. So the next portion of the card is a 6-man tournament, or a 6-man tournament, 3 matches, that lead to a 3-way dance, each with its own stipulation. The winner of the 3-way dance at the end gets to wrestle the CZW champion in the next show, whoever that may be. First up in the tournament is Madman Pondo versus John Dahmer in a no rope exploding barbed wire match. You all know what this looks like. There's ropes. There's some very, very suspiciously rigged explosive devices mixed in the barbed wire, and they do explode when they hit them. But you would not think looking around that they would know how to do this, but they do. So there's some explosions. There's some blood. John Dahmer is basically useless. Madman Pondo, the pride of the Staircase Lounge in Pittston, Pennsylvania, wins the first tournament match. The second tournament match is Ian Rotten versus Kentaro Connemura, also known as Wing Connemura, the leader of Team No Respect from FMW, been all over. This is a 100 light tube death match. Goes exactly as you think. Ian Rotten, he gets looked at by someone in the crowd and his forehead opens up. It's sloppy. Neither of these guys are in any kind of good shape. Connemura wrestles in those cool, like, silk shirts with, like, the blue flames up them and stuff. And I don't actually mean that they're cool. But he's cool. He goes over. He beats Ian Rotten. There is blood everywhere from this match. The third match in the tournament is a cactus death match. That's right. There are cactuses set up in the turnbuckles, and it is Honma versus Nick Burke. So the biggest thing about this tournament is it does take about 20 minutes in between each match for them to reset up all the different gimmicks that are happening. So,
and I mean, don't forget the guy randomly trying to sweep up blood with like one of those push bristle brooms.
Exactly. It's CZW. They did not have any of this thought out. This is Honma versus Nick Burke, and while Honma has become a legend of Japanese wrestling, Nick Burke wins because the cactus proves too much for Honma. I don't know what Nick Burke's finish was, but he basically just grinds Honma's face into a cactus on the mat until he quits. Tournament's over, so the triple threat match is going to be Madman Pondo versus Kentaro Connemura versus Nick Burke. But before that, we have a tag team match. Little breakup of the ghoul shit, if you will. We're looking at the Backseat Boys versus the team of Low Key and Cronus. This is the work rate. This is why at least 1/8 of the audience is there to see these guys work. The Backseat Boys come out with Dewey Donovan. Dewey Donovan is carrying his Do the Do briefcase and is wearing his Do the Do jacket. And the crowd is calling him all kinds of names that I will not repeat in 2021. The Backseat Boys' response to that is to grab their genitalia and wave it at the people in the crowd. Which is also what they always did. And then it just breaks down into sort of a yelling match back and forth of just various awful words that you could hear on Jerry's Internet Wrestling Emporium if you happen to watch one of these shows, because this is what they did, because people were convinced that the Backseat Boys were a couple. Match is great, work rate. These guys are all good. Loki's a little questionable human being, but he's still pretty good in the ring. He doesn't talk, so you can't hear that stupid low voice that he has. Cronus and Loki set up to do the total elimination. but low-key is no Perry Saturn. They miss, which gives Trent Acid the advantage. He gives the acid bomb to Cronus. Cronus takes the pin. The Backseat Boys win. And then the crowd calls them a bunch of names again, and then they fight more, and it's back and forth, this and that. And then Cronus goes off to do whatever he does with Nicole Bass. Which, if you know, you know. Unfortunately. Match number 6, we're at the tournament finals, the triple threat, the three-way dance between Madman Pondo, Cantaro Connemura, and Nick Burke. This is a fans bring the weapons match. Now, this is an interesting match because you think, fans are going to bring your barbed wire bats. They're going to bring your, whatever, the cookie sheets, the pizza cutter that was mentioned in the other show that was booked tonight, because that's what they do.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The weapons that stand out in this match are a broken statue of Jesus that somebody found on the roadside.
Wow.
An old TV set, one of the big, square ones with, the curved out screen. You know what I'm talking about?
Like the CRT TVs?
Right. So, like a magnet box or a Sony.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So that's, somebody gets the TV over the head, the Jesus statue shatters, it's made of ceramic or something. They're beating everybody up. It looks like Pondo's gonna win. He's sort of the most experienced in this sort of thing. It's Madman Pondo. He's a legend. Not only, again, in the Staircase Lounge in Pittston, Pennsylvania, but also, where was that, Hellertown, where he was dressed up as the Coca Bunny? But anyway, Connemura wins this match over Nick Burke by using the most deadly weapon the world of wrestling has ever seen, and it is a Ken doll with a fork for a head.
Oh my God.
It's a Ken doll, no head, with a fork jammed in it, taped up so it doesn't fall out. He jabs that into Nick Burke's head like they do with the skewers now, where they put them in a bunch and they tap them in and they stay. Well, Connemura does that with a fork. Takes the win over Nick Burke. So Wing Connemura, the leader of Team No Respect, gets the challenge at the next show that CZW runs for the World Heavyweight title. He does the Team No Respect dance while the Offspring plays in the background. I really love Connemura. You guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's fine.
I think I remember this from...
Right. It's like a weird arm dance. They were around. They were ECW too they've been around. FMW. They've been all over. But anyway, that was it. It's main event time. This is the Cage of Death. Justice Payne versus Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash is out first, walks to the ring, looks at the cage, realizes it's made of chain link fence, really chintzy scaffolding. There's a ton of gaps in it. There's light tubes everywhere. Doesn't make a ton of sense, but he's big sexy. Doesn't matter to him. It's Kevin Nash. He's the best in the world. Even in 2000, he's better than anybody else's best. Justice Payne comes out, holding the title over his head, tries to grab the microphone to cut another promo, and it won't turn on because it's a CZW show. He's trying and trying. He keeps going back to it. He really has something to say. He can't get it out because at some point somebody spilled beer on the wire and there was an exposed wire running through Brett's ass. It just doesn't work. So he just says, fuck it. He runs in the ring. Him and Kevin Nash staring each other down, circling each other. Nash isn't quite so sure what he got himself into because he's big, sexy, but light tubes, the cage isn't very tall. He's almost scraping his head on it, because he's a true 7-footer. And they're staring at each other. They give each other a little shove back and forth, looking around. They give a shove, and they get in each other's face. They're nose to nose. Kevin Nash looks at Justice Payne, jabs a finger into his chest. Justice Payne falls to the mat like a shit bag of bricks. Kevin Nash gets on top. 1, 2, 3. Finger Poke of Doom Part 2. Kevin Nash is your CZW World Heavyweight Champion. Justice Payne gets up. They embrace. And because the microphone isn't working, they yell out to the crowd that what you just saw was history. This was the formation of the Hate-Siders.
It's just as stupid as I would have hoped.
The crowd boos ridiculously. They're throwing things, including more pizza cutters. And some other guy shoots off fireworks again, because again, that's a real thing that used to happen. And that's the end of the show. Kevin Nash versus Kentaro Connemura for the CZW World Heavyweight Championship at the next show.
There's only one thing that I was really hoping for here.
Okay.
That I was a little bummed out when it didn't happen.
Oh.
That the tournament final was fans bring the weapons.
Yes.
What I had expected was that because CZW did not announce that there was a fans bring the weapons match, that there actually were no weapons.
That has happened, but I am scoring points on those weapons because those are 3 actual weapons that the Sposto 5 brought to a BCW show.
There you go.
A giant TV.
Yep. They didn't let us bring it in, but I still have the Ken with the fork doll with the fork for a head.
So what you're saying in this version of the press conference is that the Sposto 5 all arrived to this field. This was less of a card and more of a fever dream that you had about all your friends going to CZW on 2000.
We were in existence in the year 2000. So, just
the way I look at it is
pulling from what I know.
CZW fans got everything they wanted. They got 2 Cage of Deaths in 2000.
Right.
And one ended with a finger poke of doom, and the other ended up with a roll-up and a handful of dice.
The real reason is because, CZW fans were the worst. I've been to those shows. I've been to those shows when they did a double shot with Ring of Honor, where Ring of Honor was first, and then you had to walk to, the ECW arena. This is, 2003, 4. And you were always late, and then CZW always ran late, and then they would always blame Ring of Honor, and then it was just awful.
Oh, if I could have found a way to make Cage of Death end in a disqualification, I would have.
Fucking count out.
All right, so Chris, who are you backing this week?
I was not given the okay for Wade Kruger's card, so I'm de facto going to be campaigning for the summer version of Cage Death.
Yeah, it's only fair. I mean, do you want to get blamed by both stepdads for being the reason we lost?
I mean, that's hey man, you're selling out your compatriot there.
I mean, the vote was close. It's not anymore.
Matt, I'll let you go first because I went first last week.
All right, so thinking back to what we heard of Wade Kruger's 2000 CZW card, this is a show that fits the 2000 CZW mold because it made literally nobody happy.
On purpose.
Not by accident in any way. It had the return of Stevie Richards to the ECW arena to do the most cowardly thing possible in the tournament, or in the Cage of Death. And it had Bull Buchanan using light tubes, and it had lots of really terrible things that they thought were really, really cool. I bet it had a lot of new metal for entrance music. Call it a guess, call it a hunch. But if you want something that's true to 2000 CZW, well, really, you got it in both cases here. But
I mean, in my mind, every single person entered to Headstrong by Trapped. Everyone on the whole card, including Right to Censor, just with the siren blaring over it.
So vote for Wade because RTCZW is taking over the world.
Thank you.
What do you got, Decker?
All right. Listen, I'm going to pull the microphone real close. For all those that lived through the terribleness of 2018, we get to kill Rock and Rebel and throw him in a dumpster. Along with that, you got the hate ciders. You got a giant Sony 44-inch television getting thrown in at Nick Burke. You get yourself a great battle royal won by Big Mac Smack. What more do you want in CZW than to go to Sewell, New Jersey in the hot, hot sun and be treated to Cage of Death the summer version, the Summerfest. There's nothing you can do. It's gonna be, we're gonna get Figure Poke Doom Part 2. We're gonna get an 18-wheeler on the back of a field. Folks, I think we shouldn't bury the lead by saying Rocket Rebel's dead. We're gonna kill him. So vote for Duge's card.
Killed by deathmatch legend Nate Hatred.
Yeah.
And possibly also by Dewey Donovan. We don't know what happened behind that dumpster.
Was an accomplice to the murder, yes.
If anybody's ever seen Dumb and Dumber where he pulls the guy's heart out of his chest and puts it in a doggy bag, we don't know that didn't happen, but we can only hope.
Right. You don't know what happened. That's part of it.
You don't know what happened.
And to everyone voting, look at it this way. If you hate CZW and its fans, you can't go wrong choosing either of these cards. Because both of them guaranteed to send everyone home unhappy.
I don't know that anybody's ever been unhappy looking at Kevin Nash, but to each its own.
I mean, you said that they were throwing shit in the ring.
They were. That's true.
Yeah, so, I mean, the hypothetical fans were not happy. I was thrilled.
Okay, well, good.
A couple notes here regarding Dooges. For one, I did like how the entire crowd just went on with their day like nothing happened after Rocket Rebel was legitimately killed behind a dumpster.
Yes, because one, they're CZW fans who are already so detached from reality, and two, because Rocket Rebel sucks.
Yep. And some of them probably couldn't even see what was happening and didn't even know it happened.
It could just be a gimmick. You don't know.
Another problem with indie shows of the era. Things happen and you just go, well, I guess I'm not seeing that part of the show.
Right. the problem with this is in a field and there's only like 30 chairs and the dumpster's only 10 feet away, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I like the idea that they killed Rocket Rebel and they were able to get rid of the stink that would have been of this decrepit corpse. So something must have happened to this corpse.
I mean, it was behind a dumpster.
Yeah, it was
presumably that CZW fans had been using, so you know it was not going to smell good,
right?
Already.
There's going to be CZW fans listening to this, and they're like, you know what? This is a really uncalled for, unfair stereotype, guys. Come on now.
No, they would love it. CZW fans from the year 2000 would love an actual murder. They were ravenous.
I was just glad I got to shout out the shitty pizza cutter because, and this is a true story. I was at a show one time. It was a Chikara show at the arena, and these fans, it was King of Trios, and these fans had like flown in from Minnesota, and they were like, we've watched so many shows at this building that they were treating every fan who was there as if they were like celebrities. And I was hanging out with them for like the couple days that they were there, and I swear to God, they walked into the arena and they were like, oh my God, it's the guy with the shitty pizza cutter. I can't believe he's really here. Like wow. Him and the old guy with the dick nose mask, they were thrilled about.
I also like the idea that they took at least 2 hours to set up Cage of Death just for the match to last under 90 seconds.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That is absolutely something CZW would have done in 2000.
Yes.
It's true. I gave the fans too much actual good wrestling before I fucked them over. That was my downfall.
I will tell you, just my heart of hearts was set on getting Zandig, and I do have a Zandig promo which I repurposed to be the Justice Pain promo. It's basically the same promo with just more Jesus and in it, because that's what Zandig always did. But at the end of the show, it was gonna be the same ending, but Nash and Zandig were gonna form the CZWO. The Combat Zone World Order. So we're in a similar place.
Yeah, it all ends up like CZW does. It all ends up in the same general place at the end.
Right. Which is nowhere anybody wants to be.
Yeah. Which is a meandering path to mediocrity.
That's shooting high there.
Right. Yeah.
So now that you've heard these two cards with air quotes, you can go to @the_A_Show on CKCC and vote for who you feel should advance to the semifinals to face the winner of our matchup in 2 weeks between Chris O'Malley and George Gatton, who will be drafting 1985 WWF. which means next week will be 1993 ECW with Adam Van from At Odds with Wrestling against Jason DiAgostino from the Another Sports Podcast.
That's going to be fun doing ECW.
Yes, it will. Should we warn Rockin' Rebel next week about the fate that will befall him in 7 years?
No.
So
Absolutely.
I'm sure you guys have some stuff to plug. We'll let, cause Dooge has the new show, which is the old show, but it's a new show, to plug. So DJ, go ahead.
All right. So I just switched everything over today. So, I now am the co-host of the We Need Wrestling podcast at We Need Wrestling on Twitter. We were formerly the Wednesday Night War podcast, but that's over. NXT tucked their tail and ran away to Tuesdays, so there's no point in talking about them if they're head to head, or if they're not head to head. So we did that for 101 episodes, basically since NXT was announced on a Wednesday, straight through, and all the pay-per-views, all that sort of stuff, and that's over. So now we're talking about whatever the hell we want. So we're still going to talk about what we watch every week. I'm going to talk about some news, and then we're going to have a sort of a revolving main event of stuff we want to watch that we'll put out a little mini playlist for watch list for everyone to watch, and then that's what we'll talk about in the next episode. So the first week we're doing, which will be out like Thursday and a Friday, usually like 1 a.m. Fridays. We're doing the top 3 matches of Big Van Vader. We're taking the 3 matches from cagematch.net because they're star ratings. You can organize them by rating. Taking the top 3 matches of Vader, we're watching them, and then on the show, we're not going to watch them on the show. We're watching them independently. We're going to get on the show. Brett and I, my co-host Brett, are going to discuss each match and then give our own personal rankings of the 1, 2, and 3 to see if is Cage Match, is wrestling fandom as a whole correct. So those are up. I did tweet out the playlist, on Twitter, again, at, We Need Wrestling, We Need Wrestling at gmail.com if you want to message the show. You can message me privately if you need some of the matches. It is Vader versus Nobuhiko Takada from UWFI. It is Vader versus Kejimoto from 1991, which is I can only find it in a fan cam, which is really cool. And the third match is Vader versus Flair from Starrcade 93.
Oh, I fucking love that Flair match.
Can you just for me also watch and talk about Vader's White Castle of Pain?
So we'll be putting up a poll. This week was a little weird because I just switched everything over, but there will be a poll of which one did you think was better, and then a fourth option for you to respond and say, this is what I think is Vader's best match.
I mean, I don't think it's the best. I just, those old WCW, movies were like some of the funniest things I've ever seen in the world.
Yeah, hilarious. But so it's going to be different people all the time, and it won't always be the top 3 if we're watching a pay-per-view or something. But anyway, I've talked enough about that. At We Need Wrestling, WeNeedWrestling.com to find the show. We're on Spotify and Apple and wherever else. I was working through that today too. I'm also one of the 4 co-hosts of Wings on Wings podcast. We talked about that a bunch in the beginning. _Wings on Wings on Twitter, _Wings on Wings on Instagram. We watch the 90s show Wings, and we eat chicken wings while we talk about it on a podcast form. Sometimes the sauces are very hot and it kills us. Sometimes the sauces are just bad and it also kills us. But that's a fun show. That's out every Tuesday morning. This week I do in fact know the difference between AM and PM, so it should be dropping, Tuesday morning at like 9 AM. That's that.
And based on when this episode will air, that first episode of We Need Wrestling is now available on the soon-to-be-named network, so go listen to it, and the poll is also up. So
yes, I have no idea, since we're recording this before I've even recorded the first episode of We Need Wrestling. I don't know what the second week will be, but check the Twitter for the watch list. We make sure all the matches are going to be available pretty easily for everyone. YouTube, Daily Motion, IWTV, and Peacock for the WWE Network.
And if you're not familiar with the Wednesday Night War podcast, the unofficial home of Wegman Seltzer.
Yes, delicious seltzer. I'm carrying that over to every podcast I do, which is none other than this one and my own. So,
you'll know that Dooge and Brett have a real good thing going over there, and they are a fun listen. I always enjoyed the Wednesday Night Wars podcast listening on Friday mornings while I work. That and At Odds is my Friday morning listening. Yeah. So
if you've been around us for more than 30 seconds, you know all we do is talk wrestling anyway, so it's just natural.
It's very true. It's very, very, very true. Now it's just going to be a lot less having to watch the Young Bucks and a lot more talking about what you want to talk about.
I'll never watch another Young Bucks match again.
Congratulations. That's a big accomplishment.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah.
Wade, you just wrestled this weekend.
Great segue. Really just got right to the point there. It was very smooth, just went right from talking, just like from the Young Bucks to the Stepdads. We're in the same category. It's of tag teams that exist. Yeah, wrestled this past weekend. It was nice to get back in the ring. Had a nice 10-minute match where I was in it for way too much for my first match, but I don't feel like I got hit by a truck anymore, which is a plus. Got dropped on my head. It was a good time. It was up in Connecticut at Tests of Strength Wrestling, run by a guy who would have been around in this era of early 2000s wrestling, Slick Wagner Brown.
I know Slick Wagner Brown.
Yeah, he's the head trainer. It's I think him and Jay Freddy are the trainers up there, and maybe Bobby Ocean also. So good time, outdoor show. Hopefully we'll be back soon. Wrestling this coming weekend. It will have already happened by the time you hear this, but wrestling at UWA Elite. So if you're listening to this now, we had a great match, as we always do. 5-star classic. Go check it out, unless we don't post it, in which case it wasn't as good as I thought it would be right now. You could check out the Stepdads at Stepdads Wrestling on pretty much every social media, or Stepdads Wrestle on Twitter, as Radley always likes to point out. One word, at Stepdads Wrestling, one word. If you do 2 words, you get weird. If you really want to go to X videos, you could just get there on your own. I don't need to help you. You get weird stuff. So don't do it without the spaces. Or do. I'm not going to judge you. It's not 2000 CZW, so do what you want. Or you could follow me. I'm at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Wade Kruger 1. Kruger like Freddy Krueger, with the Krueger. No one can get that right, so good luck. You will be better. You will be doing it better than half of the promoters out there who like to not spell it correctly. Check me out on all those. I don't post as much about wrestling on those as we do on the Stepdad stuff. But if you want to watch me get mad about Devils hockey, or I don't know, reach out and talk, I'll probably respond most of the time. So say hi.
If you want to find good Stepdads wrestling, go to YouTube. You can actually type in Stepdads Wrestling. You can find real good stuff with Stepdads, so check it out.
And probably even matches where Wade went through a table and Decker just left him there.
Yeah, if you want to watch one of the hosts of this podcast leave me for dead on the outside of the ring, you could check out Stepdads versus Kings of Mustachery from Czw. I believe it's up there somewhere.
Oh, that's on independentwrestling.tv.
You go check it out. Make sure you watch at the end, where you'll see I get put through a table. And the match after mine starts to happen, and I've just left it ringside for dead.
I assume there was a dumpster that I could throw you behind.
Yeah, well, unlike Rock and Rebel, I am still alive in both real and fictional universes.
Wow.
And unlike Rock and Rebel, I can hold a grudge because I'm still alive.
That's fair.
Unlike Rock and Rebel,
who can't because he's dead.
I will not be showing up at your place of where you live and making more of this than that. Because
don't show up my house, please.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm far too lazy to commit actual murder.
Was the show that Matt said we were at? Was that the one with Ultimo on it?
This is the same show, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same show. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. All right, I remember that with Hoovy and Ultimo and Sonny Ono making really inappropriate comments about the women managers.
Yeah, I mean, if you want an accurate representation of what happened, you'll see the match ends. I'm laying in a table, disappointed. Chris Decker comes out and says, "Hey, can you move? We have to get this table out of here." And then leaves with the table.
I still have to do my job, man.
All right.
It's like all old cartoons where like the clowns come out with like the stretcher and then take like a broken chair or like a car and leave the the actual human being on the ground dead.
Meanwhile, Hoovy and Sonny Ono are actively walking to the ring.
Yeah, I crawled past them on the way back. It was how I always dreamed of meeting Juventud Guerrera when in 5th grade Spanish class I chose the name Juventud as my Spanish name. I had always hoped that one day, years later, I would crawl past him as he entered and he would ignore me and wonder why I was there.
So you could blame Johnny Stantz for putting you through a table, though. You never blame him.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of put myself through the table. I blame him more for taking off the supports on the table that would have kept me from falling through it. But that's neither here nor there.
I bought some Nasty Boys action figures at that show from some guys at their gimmick table.
Was it like the fake LJNs? Because I have those too.
Yeah, like the WCW, like the whatever they were. Were they They weren't San Francisco, and they weren't the Galoobs. I don't know. They're like the bigger ones, but yeah.
The ones where like the arms are just up and you can't pose them.
Yeah.
I have those somewhere in my house.
Yeah. So some guys who workers on the show had it at their gimmick table, and I was like, I'm buying those Nasty Boy figures.
It was probably Tommy Boy Floyd, who had the most random gimmick table of all time.
I was just gonna say it was probably Tommy.
I think it was a tag team. I think it was two guys, but I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
I definitely remember. My night was very different because I was in the ring with Ultimo Dragon, mm-hmm. and then also Orange Cassidy against Clay Drasher, which was a lot of fun.
The crowd didn't think so. I did.
No, they didn't get it.
Crowd didn't get it. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I got it, and I was trying not to laugh at everything Orange Cassidy was doing.
Yeah, it was great.
I somehow succeeded. I'm not sure how. You can see that on independentwrestling.tv. Use the code word draft. So other shows on CKCC Radio can now be found on the brand new ckccradio.com. Instead of me naming all the shows, you can just go there and see what they all are. Because I always forget half of them anyway.
That's a much better system.
Also, Dooge is here representing the soon-to-be-named network. There's a lot of soon-to-be-named network representation in this tournament.
Yes.
You could hear Add-Ons with Wrestling, Longbox Heroes After Dark, Final Wrestling Place, which last week's episode with the Bad Place WrestleMania card was a lot of fun. And also, there are other shows that I cannot remember. Porch Talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
The greatest podcast ever recorded. Porch Talk.
Yeah. Easiest podcast to listen to in the world.
Also, outside of those networks, you can hear Irish Kev and Rick with the Hooligans of Hops. You can hear Jason D'Agostino and David with the Not Another Sports podcast. Jason's here next week with the 3rd episode of the Tournament of Champions. You can check out the Brain Wreck podcast that is on YouTube featuring Kevin the Man Graham and Jason Axe. Decker, did I forget anything?
No, not to my knowledge. I think we covered everything.
And if any of these people who have podcasts would like me to come on and talk about things that include wrestling or not wrestling, hit me up. If anyone wants to talk about Disney or hockey or Boy Meets World.
World.
While eating a burger.
Burgers and Boy Meets World.
Yeah, preferably not wrestling. I think I talk about wrestling far too much as it is.
I think we had a hell of a conversation about Disney at that Denny's that one time.
Well, yeah, because you said Bolt wasn't a good Disney movie.
It's still not a good Disney movie.
You're so fucking wrong. It hurts.
Hey, as somebody with kids that watches that is poor representation.
I didn't say it was great. I just said it was good.
Well, we both decided Chicken Little was bad.
Disney decided Chicken Little was bad when they made it. A garbage movie.
Did you see Raya?
I have not seen Raya yet.
Raya's fantastic.
I can't justify paying $30 for a movie I could watch for free in a few months. Oh. But I also don't have kids. So, there's...
Yeah.
Wait. I thought you had stepchildren.
Not in this promo.
Oh, okay.
I say as I'm sitting in a room surrounded by Funko Pops and stuffed Mickey Mouses that are all mine. But yeah, That's where we're at.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Hey man, Riot and Soul is really good.
I'll take your word for it for now.
Did not see Soul yet, but we did watch Riot, and it was really good.
Soul's great.
It's heavy.
Yeah, Soul was pretty good.
Like you say, every Pixar movie is heavy.
Avery watched it at my mom's house. Oh no, wait, that was Coco that she watched and she didn't like. Not Soul.
That hurts my heart.
Coco took me a couple watches, and then the last time I watched, the third time I watched it, I legitimately cried.
I watched Coco every single time, and I wept like a fucking like a newborn.
Keep in mind, Avery's also 7, and you guys are not.
There's certain things that hit harder than for adults in Pixar movies than kids.
Yeah,
for sure.
Ashley cannot watch. Oh, which one is it with Bing Bong?
Oh, Inside Out.
She cannot watch Inside Out because Bing Bong sacrificing himself gets her every time.
The musician stuff in Coco is what fucking that's that hits in different ways.
However,
they all hit harder than any CZW show has ever hit.
Except if you're Rocky Rebel. So until next week, Dooge and Wade, thank you so much for joining us here on the show tonight. We'll see one of you in about a month.
Thanks for having me. If I don't win, I will hold all of you personally responsible.
And if I do win, I will hold all of you personally responsible.
The hate siders, guys. Vote for it.
Until next week, my name is Matt.
I'm Chris.
And we will see you.
So we're